welcome back, and today we're going to be making lasagna. So we're going to start with a fresh pasta dough. You can definitely go and buy the store-bought pre-dried lasagna sheets, but just in case you want to do everything from scratch, we're going to show you how to make the dough. So 1 pound of AP flour or 00. I prefer 00, it's just a little more tender at the end. 4 whole eggs, and then you might need 1 to 2 tablespoons of water just in case the dough is a little dry. So give that a mix with a fork until it becomes a shaggy dough mix, and then turn that over onto your work surface, and we're just going to begin to knead. And this can take up to 10 minutes, maybe 12. Just keep going till everything becomes smooth and supple, and you can kind of push in with your finger and you'll see that it will bounce back a little bit. And you can definitely throw this into a KitchenAid mixer or a RoboCoupe, whatever you have around. I prefer to do it by hand. I just like to feel when the dough is absolutely ready. And we're gonna let this rest for at least 45 minutes at room temperature. If not, and you're gonna do the lasagna the next day, you can go ahead and put this in the fridge right now. All right, so now for the ragu itself. You're gonna need 2 large carrots, 2 large onions, 5 cloves of garlic, and about a quarter bunch of basil. So just go ahead and give the garlic a rough chop. I like to split it down the middle, just makes it a little easier to cut. You can go relatively thin here, and then we're gonna do the same with the onions, just a small dice. Again, rough, doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. And then again, the same with the carrots. This is because it's gonna braise for about 2 hours, so these cuts aren't gonna make too much of a difference at the end of the day. All right, so you're also gonna need about a cup of red wine, a cup of beef stock. You can buy the store-bought, about a can of whole peeled tomatoes, and a 1.5 pounds of ground beef. So into a heavy bottom skillet, you're gonna throw in the beef, and you're gonna let this brown over the fire. I like to add a little bit of salt right now and a little bit of black pepper. So this goes on to the stovetop till it's brown or at least 85% cooked. Once it's about 85 to all the way done, you can remove the beef from the pan, and we're gonna add the onions and garlic, followed by the carrots, and then the tomatoes. And we're gonna bring this to a boil before adding back the beef. Add 1 cup of red wine and about a cup of beef jus. Bring this to a boil before adding your basil, and then reduce to a simmer and cover for about 2 hours. In the meantime, we're gonna make our bechamel. So this is equal parts, 100 grams of butter and flour over the heat and mix till thickened. This should take about 5 to 6 minutes, you'll see here, before adding about 600 grams of whole milk. You're gonna have to season this heavily since it's just milk, flour, and butter. And this is gonna be our thickening agent for the ragu itself. And make sure you do stir this consistently because it will stick and burn. Here you'll see about the thickness you're going for, and you're gonna need to cook this for about 20 minutes to get rid of that flour taste in the bechamel. So season heavily, pepper, salt. Now for the sheets of dough for your lasagna. So divide it into workable pieces, and we're gonna press this down so that it can fit through the first setting of your pasta machine. So go ahead and flatten it, and you're gonna put it through the largest setting. Pass it through, and then we're gonna fold it on itself. We're gonna do this 2 to 3 times. This is gonna build gluten, so you do have a little bit of bite in between each of those layers of dough. Also, you're gonna be able to get a large size, so you're gonna try to fit it to the length or the width of your machine so that you have even layers throughout in terms of width per sheet. And if you haven't already, we do have a Pasta 101 video, so if you want to see a more in-depth video on how to make fresh pasta and how to roll it out, go ahead and check that out. We are going a little fast here, so if you need a little more in-depth review on how to do it, go ahead and check out that video. So right here you can see your hand right through the sheet, and that's what you're looking for. And we're going to flour these well so they don't stick. and then take your sheet and measure it on what you're going to make your lasagna in. So you're going to repeat that with all of them and using that first one as a template to cut the rest of the sheets of dough. So here I used all 1 pound of that pasta we made originally. We're just going to go through and we're going to cut any of the excess weird parts. All want perfect squares for this. It's just going to make it easier when we're actually building the lasagna. Now this dough wasn't large enough to cover the whole inside of the pan, so we did measure a smaller section of that off, you'll see now, to be able to cover the whole pan itself. So here I'm measuring out that small section that was missing. I only cut a couple of these because I didn't know how many I was going to do, so I didn't want to have to cut too many of these sheets and then not have enough of the large ones. So just cut a couple and then kind of work from there. Always have one as a template, so if you need to go back and add a couple more, you have that template pre-cut. All right, so the ragu's been cooking for 2 hours, and we're going to add all of our bechamel to this. This is going to add a bit of richness to the final product. If you don't want to make a bechamel, you can go ahead and add ricotta rather than bechamel, and this will be in between the layers when we're actually building the lasagna. So go ahead and mix this together and taste it for seasoning. All right, now for the actual building of the lasagna. In your pan, we're going to add a little bit of olive oil to the bottom. For some reason, I decided to throw some sauce in there. Definitely don't have to. I just thought it would be kind of interesting to see what happened. So go ahead and spread a little bit of that olive oil all around the bottom of the pan. And then we're going to start layering our lasagna. So starting first with a sheet of dough. So we're going to place that sheet of dough down first. We're going to add in that small little section that we're missing. And then we're going to go sauce, mozzarella. I'm using about 1 pound of mozzarella right now. And then basil leaves in between. And we're just going to follow this till we have run out of sheets of dough. So sauce, cheese, basil, dough, sauce, cheese, basil till the very end. At this point, your oven should be preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. If you like, you can add a little bit of layer of parmesan in between, mascarpone, ricotta, kind of do whatever you'd like. I do like with a little bit of mascarpone. I didn't have any around, but it adds a little bit of creaminess to the lasagna. It's really good. I like a lot of basil, as you can see. You can go ahead and add parsley at this point, whatever you'd like. So this is then going to go into the 400-degree oven for about 30 to 25 minutes, kind of depending on how hot your oven really is and how much air movement's in there. So I finished this on the top with a little bit of cheese, basil, and then some parmesan over the top. So once your lasagna has a nice dark crust over the top and it's kind of bubbling, it's ready to come out. Do let it sit for about 30 minutes if you can. If not, it's like lava and you'll melt the top of your mouth. So just kind of release it from its edge and cut off a slice. You can finish it with a little bit of parmesan when it's done. Here I finished it with a little bit of fresh basil, some extra virgin olive oil, and a balsamic extract. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe.